Candace Hare joins us live. You haven't left this scene since around 3 this afternoon, so what can you tell us right now?
Well, Courtney, what I can tell you is that police have confirmed that a 40-year-old man and his 6-year-old daughter are now dead. Now, some supporters of Princeton told me during the game that sports can sometimes have a way of uniting people. Testimony is underway in the Gurpreet Singh capital murder trial. Singh is accused of killing his wife, her parents, and her aunt. But in a piece of good news, he tells me they received dozens of phone calls about that dog who was abandoned in their parking lot, and they've already found her a new home. Absolutely. I'm here in Newport, and as you say, we are less than a day away from Riverfest. You can see behind me the Princeton High School football team loaded up on their buses Saturday evening and made the trip to Fairfield for a big game. And as you say, this game taking place one day later than originally scheduled after that active shooter hoax that took place at Princeton High School. But some who attended today's game tell me it was nice to come together for a more positive reason.
21.
An electric environment was on display in Fairfield as the nearly full visitor stand representing Princeton High School cheered for their team.
Princeton Fairfield is always a big game. It's always a big matchup. It's a lot of emotions out here, and the kids are playing hard. They're having fun. It's a great environment.
This in a step towards normalcy after an active shooter threat was reported at Princeton High School on Friday. As a large law enforcement presence surrounded the campus, the threat was revealed to be a hoax. Nevertheless, the school was shut down, students were sent home, and the game was rescheduled. FBI Cleveland has since released a statement via Twitter reminding people that issuing a threat to schools, events, or other public buildings is a federal crime. On Saturday, there was a clear police presence at the game with multiple agencies on site. But Jaden Houston, a 9th grader at Princeton, says supporting the team with friends and family was a step in a positive direction for the school.
I'm happy. I'm like, I knew we were going to win. We were ready.
And win they did. Thomas says watching the team's decisive 28-14 victory had added meaning in the aftermath of Friday's events.
I'm really emotional about it. A lot of these guys I coached when they were like 4 and 5 and 6 years old, so we're out here now just kind of celebrating the success of them and them competing at a high level.
Now, some supporters of Princeton told me during the game that sports can sometimes have a way of uniting people, and they tell me it was great to come out together to celebrate their team's success. From Fairfield, Candace Hare, Fox 19 Now.
You shouldn't have to be sitting around nervous and scared wondering if my kid made it even to or from the bus safely, because they're allowing kids to cross over busy intersections.
Single mother of 5, Pearl Gray's 9 and 11-year-olds attend St. Dominic Catholic School in Delhi. Their buses are organized by Cincinnati Public Schools. She says she was immediately concerned when she received an email with this year's bus route, located at the intersection of Greenwich Avenue and Rapid Run Road. It's a nearly half-mile walk from her home to the bus stop, much of which is along Rapid Run Road, a street she says sees steady traffic during rush hour.
During daylight savings time, it's going to be dark, and it's just very dangerous for them to be traveling such a route during them hours of the day.
Gray is not the only parent sharing concerns about student bus routes. John Danhire tells me he has 2 children who ride CPS buses. He says when pickup time rolled around, the buses were nowhere to be found.
And we waited about half an hour, and no buses showed up.
Danhire says he and his wife wound up driving his kids to school, but
there are a lot of parents who don't have the ability, who don't work from home or can't, take their kids to school and just have to leave them at the bus stop.
We reached out to Cincinnati Public Schools, who responded via statement, saying in part, quote, "We are working to ensure students are making it to school safely and on time. As we kick off the school year, we ask parents to be patient as we troubleshoot possible transportation concerns." But Gray says the time for patience has passed.
Patience is something that you cannot have when someone's life is in your hands. It goes beyond you trying to follow policy and procedure to get things done. It's about you really putting yourself in these people's situation, and if it was your kid, what would you do?
Now to a breaking news story we've been following out of Mount Healthy today, where a SWAT situation has ended in tragedy. Our Candace Hare joins us live. You haven't left this scene since around 3 this afternoon, so what can you tell us right now?
Well, Courtney, what I can tell you is that police have confirmed that a 40-year-old man and his 6-year-old daughter are now dead after a lengthy standoff that took place at an apartment complex just off of Hamilton Avenue in Mount Healthy. Now, police do tell me that they arrived on scene just after 11:30 this morning when they were called to a custody dispute. They say that officers heard gunshots from within the residence as well. But as you say, this was a lengthy incident, so we do want to take you back to where it initially started. We arrived on scene just after 3 p.m. and emotions were understandably running high, with some people consoling one another as details began to emerge. This was a very active scene at that time, with several first responders on scene, including Mount Healthy Police Department, North College Hill Police Department, and Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. Mount Healthy Police Chief Vincent DeMasi tells us officers treated this as a SWAT hostage situation, adding officers tried to talk to the people inside, but those communications failed. This incident ultimately coming to a tragic end, with a man in his 40s and his 6-year-old daughter now dead. Now, new information has just been released in the past few minutes from Mount Healthy Police Department. They tell us that when they initially heard those gunshots come from inside the residence, that officers immediately tried to gain access to a second-story bedroom, but were unable to do so because it was barricaded from within. They tell me that when the SWAT team was later able to gain access to that room, that was where they found 40-year-old Eric Johnson and his 6-year-old daughter dead with gunshot wounds. They added that Mr. Johnson was a convicted felon who illegally had a gun. From Mount Healthy, Candace Hare, Fox 19 Now. Absolutely, I'm here in Newport, and as you say, we are less than a day away from Riverfest. You can see behind me the Ohio River, and we know that thousands of people are going to be packing the riverbanks right here in Newport to make sure that they can enjoy all things Riverfest, which of course is highlighted by that fireworks show. And earlier today, I was able to catch up with industry veterans Rossi Fireworks to hear how they are preparing for tomorrow's show. While the fireworks show at Riverfest may look large, the operation behind the display's preparation is a family-run business, Rossi Fireworks. Joe Rossi says it takes thousands of fireworks to make their show a success.
There's about 8,000, 7,000 to 8,000, somewhere in between there.
Which he says is more than last year.
It just depends. Depends on what we want to do and how we want to accomplish it.
Since Tuesday, Rossi's team of 15 people have been working to ready fireworks for Sunday's show, with dark clouds hovering above, serving as a reminder that weather could be a complicating factor.
Well, as you can see, everything's covered under black plastic, so everything will be covered under plastic. If we have to shoot through it, we'll shoot through it. It's not ideal because it just makes a mess, but that's pretty much, we'll make that call pretty close to showtime if we pull it, depending on what the weather does, but everything's protected.
Rossi says remaining tasks ahead of Sunday's display include loading the remaining fireworks and testing. But with preparations beginning to wind down, I asked Rossi if he feels relieved knowing showtime is near.
No. Tomorrow at 9:37 is the sigh of relief.
Now, Rossi does tell me that team of 15 grows to 30 tomorrow for show day itself. And of course, the show going to be at 9 p.m. tomorrow, not only here in Newport, but also hosted by the cities of Covington, Bellevue, and Cincinnati. From Newport, Candace Hare, Fox 19 Now. Animal House pet stores say that 2 separate instances have resulted in 4 total animals being left abandoned at their facility in a 24-hour span. They tell me that instances like these impact their staff, which is already strained, and could pose a risk to the safety and well-being of the animals already in their care. This is surveillance camera footage of a vehicle in the Animal House pet store parking lot. As you can see, a person opens the rear driver's side door and takes what looks like a dog on a leash out of the car. And when the vehicle pulls away, it reveals what appears to be a dog in a cage next to the dumpster. Animal House pet store owner Mike Raleigh tells me this is the dog in that video, and they suspect she is pregnant.
Just dumping an animal into our parking lot and leaving it is not okay. There are numerous times where we're not even here, or somebody just walking down the street can find these animals and take them out, and God knows what will happen to them.
But this isn't the only instance of abandonment he says they have seen. Raleigh says this image shows a person who dumped 3 cats the night prior. He says incidents like these are happening more frequently, straining the store's 4 staff members who are already dealing with a wait list of people wanting to surrender their pets.
Literally, the dog that was left in our parking lot is just running around our store. I mean, we don't have a place to keep it right now.
He adds, dropping off animals without discussing their medical history or personality traits can also put the other animals in their care at risk. For example,
the thing about the cats is we have to get them all tested for leukemia and FIV before we can mix them in with the population, because all it takes is one to totally get the 30 cats that we have sick.
Raleigh says regardless, his store will never leave a pet behind, but that sometimes he thinks people take advantage of their generosity.
It is discouraging, and we do see a lot of the comments of, well, at least they're in good hands. I mean, but we were forced into the situation. You know, that's just it.
Now, Raleigh emphasized to me the time and the money it takes to care for these animals that are dumped at their facility, saying they have to drop everything in order to do so. But in a piece of good news, he tells me they received dozens of phone calls about that dog who was abandoned in their parking lot, and they've already found her a new home. From Mount Healthy, Candace Hare, Fox 19 Now.